Hello everyone, I'm Shalika De Silva. Uh, I would like to welcome all of you to our this month's Clarity of Mind through Mindfulness session. As you know, we started a series of Dhamma talk on 10 perfections. Our teacher actually explained three perfections already, and we are on the fourth perfection, which is the wisdom, Panya. I would like to invite our teacher, Venerable Panadure Chandarathana Thero, to take us a deep dive into this very important topic. Thero and Sarnai Bante.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Bante.
Okay, fine. Okay, let me share my screen so that you can see the situation. Okay, as Shalika pointed out, so we already discussed few perfections, particularly generosity, then morality, and then renunciation. So these are different aspects of our spiritual life, and today we are going to discuss about wisdom, what we call as Panyapara. But here, actually, I thought of talking more with respect to the meditation, because as a group who are more interested in meditation, so we need to have some clear understanding how this wisdom grows, how wisdom evolves as a result of our practice. Now, if we understand different kinds of wisdom, so Buddha particularly mentioned three types of wisdom. The first one is called Sutameya Panya, or Sutameya Jnana, where you can gain fair amount of understanding, fair amount of knowledge by going through books, going through listening, participating to various lectures, sermons, etc. So this is one way of gathering knowledge. So this is quite evident, and we all can understand that. That is what we do at our college, maybe at the universities, maybe by participating to Dhamma sermons. So this is how we gather some fair amount of knowledge by hearing to someone or to read a book. So this is what we call Sutame Jnana. Now, on the other hand, once you have some understanding about these teachings, probably you can contemplate. Internally, you can do kind of a wise reflection, maybe some amount of, say, rationalization, logical thinking, and then that also helps to grow further whatever the knowledge you already gained. So that type of wisdom we call as Chintame Panya, or kind of knowledge that you gain through reflection. The most important third one is the Bhavanamaya Panya, where you are going through some experiential knowledge. It is not kind of knowledge that you borrowed from someone else, rather it is a knowledge that you yourself have developed. You are starting from where you are, and certain criterion has to be met. Say Buddha is asking to develop certain other qualities so that you are capable of gaining these different insights. So these insightful knowledge or experiential knowledge is what most important, and that is what Buddha really appreciated, highlighted, and that is what actually today I hope to discuss a little bit in detail. Now, further, if we consider different levels of wisdom, so sometimes wisdom cause to drive ourselves in the spiritual path. Say, for example, you are fairly curious about what is going on. Say, you don't know much about meditation, you don't know much about mindfulness, you don't know about Buddhism. But you have kind of a curiosity. You want to test it. You want to investigate it. So this is a wisdom. This is a kind of wisdom, what we call as Vimansa Iddhipada, spiritual power of wisdom. So this, if you have this kind of a power of wisdom, spiritual power of wisdom, so that inquisitive attitude, that inquiring attitude, that bit of a curiosity you have is actually driving you more and more towards the spirituality. Certain people are telling this and that, but you want to check it, you want to really test it, you yourself want to inquire it, investigate it. So this is something that we beautifully have as human beings. So some people have that to very high levels, so therefore they can investigate things. They won't investigate things. I want to know it properly. So that kind of an attitude is something really insightful, and that is operating as Vimansa Iddhipada. So throughout your, say, spiritual life, so this Vimansa Iddhipada helps to further drive yourself, further motivate yourself to continue your practice. Till you reach the goal, you are not stopping, because your curiosity, your desire to understand, desire to get some practical knowledge. So that knowledge, that thirst about wisdom is something that's driving you. So when you have such kind of investigative knowledge, so that even leads to develop samadhi as well. So that is why Buddha mentioned vimansa samadhi. Say for example, you are practicing anapanasati, and at the beginning your mind is wandering, so much of distractions, and then what you do is again and again you are trying to be mindful. Later you understand, okay, now fair amount of mindfulness is available. Now my mind can remain continuously for say 20 breaths, say 50 breaths, 100 breaths. So that indicates some amount of mindfulness has grown, some amount of concentration has grown. But without stopping there, now you need to investigate what is this breath is. Is it longer? Is it shorter? Is it warmer? Is it cooler? Is it the beginning? Is it the middle? Is it the end? So you are doing this kind of a very careful investigation. So this investigation further strengthen the concentration. Now you are fully carefully examining the breath. So that very careful examination itself contributes to develop samadhi as well, concentration as well. So that Buddha mentioned as vimansa samadhi. Actually, now you need some effort as well, because at that moment there may be various other hindrances try to come up, various other distractions try to come up, and you need to abandon those say unwholesome situations, unwholesome thoughts. At the same time, what you have developed already, say some concentration you have developed, some wisdom you have developed, some kind of a calmness you have developed, now you need to retain that, you need to maintain that. So another type of effort to develop further these wholesome qualities what you have already developed also has to be there. So that indicates some effort has to be there, and you need to produce that, you need to maintain that again and again. You have to properly, carefully maintain such kind of a what you call effort. And that is something Buddha mentioned as padhana sankhara samannagatu. So you are doing kind of a striving, kind of a effort, so that everything is properly maintained. The unwholesome things are abandoned, and the wholesome things are now you are trying to further develop and retain. So therefore this is called iddhipada, based on wisdom. So it actually being supported by concentration, and again supported by the effort as well. Now you can see it's a kind of a combination of several factors working together in harmony, and that is what we call as vimansa iddhipada. Then Buddha talks about panya indriya. So you can see this is a evolution of wisdom. It is not just a one type of wisdom we are talking here, rather kind of a evolutionary type of wisdom. It evolves with time. As you are continuing your practice, wisdom evolves. At the beginning it starts with very minor kind of clear comprehension. Say you want to distinguish between in-breath and out-breath. You want to know exactly what are the differences, whether it is warm, whether it is cool, where it is touching, say whether it is longer, whether it is shorter. So these are very subtle aspects of the breath. Now you are investigating. So this is how we are developing the clear comprehension, sampajanya. And when you are doing that, okay, further other qualities start to develop. Concentration further develops, and you get some deeper understanding. Your inquiring attitude, inquisitive attitude further develops. You are not just remain in the surface, but you need to penetrate. Oh, these are other aspects now slowly you are developing. And then we are reaching another level, what we call as panya indriya or panyindriya. Now you know there's something called wisdom available in the mind. Some days I am working properly, everything easily can understand. you have some penetrative knowledge, while others are trying to come up with a solution, you can easily come up with a solution. So that means your wisdom faculty is proper, is fairly developed or fairly in operation. But certain other days, okay, you feel like blunt, I can't understand anything. Okay, your mind is somewhat foggy. So this kind of a situation is also there. So these things are, I mean, it is not that you are able to maintain wisdom throughout the whole 365 days. Ups and downs are there. Absence and presence is there. So likewise, as a quality, as a skill within yourself, now you understand, okay, there is kind of a skill, kind of a spiritual quality called wisdom is available in the mind. So this is the area that we call as wisdom faculty, panya indriya. So when wisdom is there, then it leads the mind and it is leading you. It is telling you, okay, you need to further look at it. You need to further investigate it. You need to further develop, say, mindfulness so that you are getting various insights. So this wisdom is driving you. Wisdom is very much like leading the whole spiritual life. So this is where what we call as a panya indriya. So kind of a penetrative wisdom. It's faculty of wisdom, and it is kind of a leading. It's playing kind of a leading role. So this is where Buddha mentioned, say, what you call the wisdom faculty. And on the other hand, Buddha mentioned it is very much like now you are preparing yourself to understand Four Noble Truths. The noble truth of unsatisfactoriness, noble truth of, say, craving, the cause of suffering, and then the cessation of suffering and path leading to the cessation of suffering. Slowly now you are preparing yourself to understand these. So wisdom faculty on some occasions Buddha mentioned. So this is the preparatory stand of mind where you are trying to develop or understand Four Noble Truths. And on the other hand, as you are closely looking at various phenomena, you understand their common characteristics, how they arise, how they change, how they pass away, how another phenomena arise, how they change, how they pass away. So likewise, now you have fair understanding about arising and passing away, what you call as udayattagaminiya panyaya samannagato. So you know, experientially you know, different kinds of phenomena are available and they are subjected to arise and pass away. It's another level of wisdom. And Buddha mentioned this is also part of faculty of wisdom, panya indriya. And then we come across another level, panya bala. Now you can see it's a kind of an evolution. We started with very basic, say, clear comprehension. Then we went on to, say, further develop experiential knowledge, closing something, I mean, looking something very closely. And now you are reaching faculty, indriya. That means panya indriya. Then after that you are coming across panya bala. That means power of wisdom. Say, even when mind becomes somewhat foggy, somewhat blunt, and you don't understand and you can't clearly see, but still you are not shaken, you are not much say surprised, because you know very soon I can further develop this wisdom, I can arouse this wisdom. There are various causes conditioning the availability of wisdom. I know those causes, I can easily develop wisdom, I can again sharpen wisdom. Now you have that kind of an unwavering attitude. That is why it's mentioned avijjaya kampiyattena panya balam. Even when there is ignorance available in the mind, you are not worried. You know it is very temporary, I can easily switch it, I can abandon ignorance, I can re-establish wisdom. Unshakability by ignorance is the power of wisdom. Now you probably have heard about one motto of Nissarnavane that is called pamade na kampatiti sati balam. That means even when mind is somewhat what you call not mindful, say forgetful, if you have fair amount of mindfulness previously established, you yourself know the strength of mindfulness, you yourself know various ways and means to develop mindfulness, then you are not worried. Even at this moment mind is wandering and doing all forgetful things, but still you know I can quickly recover. I can quickly establish mindfulness. Similarly, here, Panya Bala means even when mind is somewhat ignorant, it can't understand things properly. But I can quickly sharpen the faculty of wisdom. I can quickly sharpen the ability of wisdom so that you are not worried. So, this kind of an unshakability is there when you are reaching the Panya Bala, the power of wisdom. And further, Buddha mentioned that the penetrative knowledge of arising and passing away, that is also a part of this Panya Bala. When you are applying your sharp mindfulness, sharp concentration, you can see various phenomena quickly arising and passing away. So that is another part of Panya Bala. And then further, Buddha mentioned the ability to understand Four Noble Truths is also a part of Panya Bala. And then we are coming to another level. So that is Dhamma Vichaya. We were in the Panya Indriya, then we were in Panya Bala, now we are in Dhamma Vichaya. Basically, now we are in the Bojjhanga, Enlightenment Factors. You can see how slowly these things are evolving. Now, interestingly, Buddha mentioned how Dhamma Vichaya Sambojjhanga develops in detail in the Anapanasati Sutta in Majjhima Nikaya. So, Buddha mentioned when you have well established mindfulness, unwavering kind of mindfulness, that is where you start to develop the enlightenment factor of mindfulness. Say at the beginning, your mind is wandering, so much of distractions, and even when it is get distracted, it stays outside for a long time. So that means still the mindfulness is not well established. But because of your continuous practice, one day you reach kind of a establishment of mindfulness. Now less distractions. You can just be with the object. You can just be with the phenomena. Suppose if you are simply watching various feelings, without much trouble, you can simply be with different kinds of feelings. It may be pleasurable feelings, it may be painful feelings, it may be equanimous feelings, but you can simply be with them. Less distractions. Each and every feeling you can investigate. Each and every feeling you can just be. So that means establish mindfulness. Actually, once that mindfulness is well established, that is where the enlightenment factor of mindfulness, so what you call as Sati Sambojjhanga, start to develop. And then Buddha mentioned, when your mindfulness is well established, now you start to look at the phenomena closely. You have to examine it properly. You have to investigate it properly. So this careful investigation, careful examination, very close examination is the one contributing to develop Dhamma Vichaya Sambojjhanga, the investigation of phenomena. Yasmin samaye bhikkave bhikkhu hatha sato viharanto tang dhammang panyaya pavichinati pavichayati parivimansang apajjati. Dhamma Vichaya Sambojjhango tasmin samaye bhikkhuno araddo hoti. So once mindfulness is well established, now Buddha invites us to investigate whatever the phenomena. When you are doing that close examination, proper investigation, that is how it is contributing to develop Dhamma Vichaya Sambojjhanga. So you can see, just by mere mindfulness, you can't penetrate. You need to use mindfulness, establish mindfulness to have penetrative wisdom. So that has to be little initiated at the beginning, because our mind sometimes don't like it. Mind want to simply relax. Mind is somewhat lethargic. But you need to initiate. You have to give that ignition. Then mind starts investigating. You are now closely examining, closely observing. So that close observation, careful examination, investigation is now leading your understanding, furthering your understanding, developing your understanding. Now you are getting some penetrative wisdom. That is what we call as Dhamma Vichaya. Now this is actually different levels are there. Different insights are available. Say for example, if you are practicing Kaya Anupassana, say you are observing different elements available within the body. So how you understand, how you recognize the availability of elements is through their characteristics. Say for example, if it is earth element, so it may be manifested as hardness, softness, heaviness, lightness, say grossness, smoothness. So these are the certain qualities attributed to earth element. Say if you want to understand the availability of say water element, if you know its kind of flowing characteristics, if you know the cohesion, so that is where you understand, okay, the availability of water element. And if you want to understand the heat element, whenever you feel cold, whenever there is heat or say hot, then that means the availability of heat element, tejo dhatu. On the other hand, if you can understand the movements, different movements are there, motion is there, so that is where you understand the availability of the air element. So, so the availability of different elements or their manifestation, their operation, you understand by investigating these different characteristics. Suppose now you are carefully understanding these different characteristics, and slowly you are abandoning the typical names that you have given to the body. Say, this is my head, this is my hair, this is my nails, this is my tummy, and different names we were given. Now all these different names are now slowly fading away, abandoned. What you understand is nothing but elements. Now this is an understanding, this is a knowledge, this is an experiential knowledge. And again, once you have this kind of a direct understanding, you can even apply that same understanding to outside. And you can look at someone else and see his body or her body also have the same kind of elements. And similarly, if you apply the same understanding to some inanimate things, say to a table, to a chair, to a cup, there also you understand, okay, this is also mere elements. Now everywhere, whole physical world is nothing but elements. Now this is how wisdom is growing. Even when you are looking at different thoughts, for example, at the beginning you think, okay, these thoughts are really huge, they are something belong to me, and I have to operate according to them, I have to simply act according to them. They are so powerful, and again so much of thoughts are there. So this is the kind of a wrong understanding we had. But slowly, when you are applying clear comprehension, proper mindfulness to the thought process, then you may understand, okay, they are separated. I mean, one thought after another thought, and again another thought, again another thought. Now you can clearly see how these thoughts coming and going. So this is an understanding, this is an insight. You are observing your mind, different kinds of thoughts, impartially, non-judgmentally. You are not being carried away by the content of the thoughts. Rather, you can see, okay, different thoughts are coming and going. They are merely thoughts. So you can do this distant observation. And you can even understand how a particular thought arising, and how it is trying to tempt us, delude us. And if you know it properly, then we are impartially observing it, and we are not driven by the thought or the content of the thought. Now it is slowly passing away. Now you get another deeper understanding. So these thoughts doesn't belong to me. They are just kind of passengers coming and going. They are simply trying to get on to a train, and then after some time they are getting down. So why I bother? Why I am trying to hold these thoughts? Now kind of an inquiring attitude, understanding through your direct observation is now developing. Now you may understand, okay, none of them remain forever. They are quite transient, they are inconstant, quite impermanent. So through the investigation, you are developing these kinds of insights. It's not kind of a borrowed knowledge from a book or from someone else. Rather, through your direct observation, now you are getting this understanding. Say further you are observing that, then you understand, okay, everything is subjected to this kind of arising and passing away nature. It's very much like oppressed by arising and passing away. It's oppressed by impermanence. How can I expect kind of a happiness from this kind of a situation? How can I expect satisfaction from this kind of a situation? Then you understand the suffering nature, unsatisfactoriness, and everything have different kinds of causes and conditions. As a result of that, everything is very much like beyond my control, non-governable. Then you understand the non-self. So these are the levels, different kinds of insights are arising as a result of continuous investigation. Now, as we are further continuing our practice, now we are coming to the right view, Samma Ditti. And when Buddha mentions Samma Ditti, Buddha talks about two types of Samma Ditti. The one is the mundane type of Samadhi, the other one is the supramundane type of Samadhi. Mundane type of Samadhi is very much based on the karma. So you accept what is, if you do something correct, something good, something wholesome, you may reap something good. On the other hand, if you do something unwholesome, then you have to reap some unwholesome kind of painful results. So very much like understanding this operation of the karma, and you understand, okay, I'm inherited by karma. My relative is karma. I'm born because of karma. And you understand, okay, if I am doing proper things, correct things, I'm practicing virtues, okay, I am, if I'm doing some proper actions, good actions, I may reap the good results. On the other hand, if I do wrong actions, bad things, unwholesome deeds, then I may reap the bad results, bad consequences. So this is the kind of a foundation we need to have with respect to proper view, correct view, right view. And while being there, now you are further developing the wisdom that is more into the supramundane side, lokuttara side. Actually, at the beginning, when you are based on karma, by having some understanding of karma, if you do proper things, wholesome things, still kind of feeling of I is there. As an individual, you are a good person now. So you help someone and you feel happy, and you say I helped him. It's a good thing, but kind of ignorance is still there because some kind of personality view is involved. Even that is being penetrated when we are going to the second level, that is the lokuttara panya, or what you call as the supramundane type of wisdom. And then you are going through different levels of development of wisdom, as we just discussed. So you come across clear comprehension, you come across panya indriya, the faculty of wisdom, then you come across, say, panya bala, the power of wisdom, then you come across dhamma vichaya, sambojjhanga, the enlightenment factor. So it's a kind of an evolution of panya happening as a result of your insight practice. So this is how we are now moving towards the supramundane type of wisdom. So, and then further Buddha mentioned, so when you are developing this kind of wisdom, you are slowly abandoning the personality view. You are slowly abandoning the wrong view about a person, about an individual, about a self. So Buddha further mentioned in very beautifully in Kacchanagotta Sutta, so what are the different wrong views? Actually, we think, okay, every time either things are existing or things are not existing. So we are very much living in these two extremes. And Buddha mentioned, so without getting on to these two extremes, he is coming up with a solution based in the middle. So that is depending on the cause and effect, dependent origination, Patissamuppada. And when you see how things are arising, then you can't say things are not existing because you see the arising part. And on the other hand, say when you see how things are passing away, now you can't say things are existing because you see to your very eyes now things are passing away, quickly disappearing. Now, as a result of this kind of arising and passing away knowledge, Now you are abandoning the two extremes, not through mere knowledge of book, but you yourself see how things are arising and how things are passing away. As a result of that, you can't get any of the extremes. Absolutely things are existing, absolutely things are not existing. So these two extremes now you are slowly abandoning. Now you understand due to causes and conditions things are arising. When causes are not there, things may not arise. They may pass away. Masmin sati idang hoti, masuppada idang uppajjati. When things are there, when proper conditions are available, conducive environment is available, then the things are arising. But when causes are absent or causes are slowly ceasing, fading away, then the results also ceasing away, passing away. So this kind of understanding based on the causality is something you are developing with respect to wisdom. And then Buddha mentioned, typically our minds are so engaged with so much of attachment, so much of grasping, attached to so many things. Say you are looking at news, so you are thinking about it, you are too involved with it. And say you are watching a movie, you are fully absorbed to it, you are living in a different world, you forget that you are at your home, you are on a chair, but now you are in a different world. So this is how we are born into a condition, or we are existing in a different state, and we lose altogether the present moment. And again mind likes to be reborn in a different world, what we call the bhava tanha, the desire to become. I want to become someone, I want to become something, I want to enjoy something. So that indicate at the present moment you are somewhat unsatisfactory, you are somewhat frustrated. But on the other hand, if you are fully contented in the present moment, then you don't need to worry about the next moment because you are fully happy in the present moment. But unfortunately, our minds are so much inclined towards the future, attached to something, grasping something, or at least associate something, adhere to something. So this is the nature of the typical ignorant mind. But when we are developing wisdom, we do proper analysis, proper investigation, then slowly we are developing kind of a detached observation. So different phenomena are there, but you are not going too closer to them, you are not getting involved with them, you are not adhering to them. You can do a detached observation, you are maintaining kind of a distance, you are not attached. Now you can see, so this proper understanding helps you to abandon things, relinquish things. You are not involved with things now, you are maintaining kind of a dispassionate attitude, and you know very well whatever arising is unsatisfactory because they are subjected to passing away. Whatever arising is suffering, whatever passing away is suffering, that's it. So Buddha mentioned dukkhameva uppajjamanam uppajjati, dukkham nirujjamanam nirujjati, na kankati na vichikacchati aparappaccha jnanameva setta hoti. And you know it very well through your direct knowledge. So this is an insight. This is the supramundane kind of insight. It is not that you gain from someone, rather through investigation, through proper insights, proper knowledge. So you get kind of an understanding. Whatever arising is passing away. Whatever arising is nothing but dukkha, unsatisfactoriness, and whatever passing away is nothing but unsatisfactoriness. And he has no doubt about it. So this is the proper wisdom, the supramundane kind of wisdom that Buddha mentioned in the right view as the second half. And the last thing is what we call as the right knowledge, which is more incorporated with the right freedom. Samma jnana coupled with samma vimutti. You know, now when you are developing insight practice, vipassana, slowly your mind may understand various things and start to abandon things, letting go of things. And now mind likes to stay secluded. Mind likes to live alone, mind its own business, not involved. So it is quite happy by being alone. No need to get attached to anything. So it is now enjoying kind of a freedom by not grasping things, by not attaching to things. It has its own wisdom now. Some insight understanding is very much incorporated, inherent. So when it is there, a freedom is also there. So why we lose freedom? Because we get attached, we get hooked up, we are being bound by something. But when you have proper understanding, now you start to let go of things, relinquish things, because of proper understanding. So that means understanding and freedom go hand in hand. If you have more understanding, you have to have more freedom. Actually, Venerable Achancha very beautifully mentioned, if you let go a little, you have little happiness. If you let go more, you have more happiness. If you let go totally, you have total happiness. Simple as that. So this the last point, the Samma Jnana, right knowledge, is actually something coupled with right freedom or right vimutti. And there Buddha mentioned, so the the Arahant are endowed with these 10 factors. The Seeker, the trainee, is endowed with 8 factors. So that means whenever you are developing the Noble Eightfold Path, slowly your mind may come to a temporary freedom time to time. It may start to enjoy or experience kind of a temporary freedom. So at that time, freedom plus wisdom is available in the mind. Say when the mind is released, it is not because merely by samatha or in the tranquility practice. Suppose you were practicing vipassana and you understood the things are quite impermanent, intransient, transient and unsatisfactory, non-self, and things are not under your control. So you have some deep, insightful understanding. As a result of that, mind has let go of everything, and now mind become free because of the understanding. So this understanding and freedom, the resultant freedom is very much coupled. So time to time now you can simply dwell in that freedom. Now you have to further cultivate that freedom. And you probably may understand, okay, why I can't maintain this freedom? And then you come up with a solution, okay, various defilements are still available, various tendencies are still available, various personality traits are still available. That is why I can't maintain this kind of freedom. So now you have to address those personality traits, address those latent tendencies. You have to slowly unentangle your mind, abandon those, say, shady areas. You have to recover your mind, unearth those different kind of tendencies. You have to open up. So now, when more and more defilements are abandoned, so defilements are weakened, and even if you are able to fully uproot them, then probably you may have fair amount of freedom based on understanding, based on wisdom. So this is what Buddha mentioned as the Samma Panya or Samma Jnana, which is fairly coupled with Samma Vimutti. As a result of that, when one becomes fully enlightened, that is an Arahant, there Buddha mentioned Dasanga Samannagata. He is with 10 factors, not just 8 factors. Now he has tenfold type of noble path. Now he has fully endowed with it. He has fully accomplished that. So you can see that the wisdom is a kind of a evolutionary process. The development of wisdom is kind of an evolution. So you start with very basic investigation, clear comprehension, and then slowly develop to the level of faculties, then to the power, and to the Dhamma Vichay, that means the enlightenment factor. And now you come up with the right view, Samma Ditti, and that also twofold, and ultimately your wisdom is coupled with the freedom. So this is how actually the wisdom is evolving, growing. So with that, I like to conclude today's Dhamma sermon or the presentation. Now, if you have any question, you can ask, or we can get on to the guided sitting immediately, and after guided sitting, you can ask questions, whatever you prefer. What do you think, Shalika? First,
Yeah.
we continue
Yeah.
the guided sitting,
Yes, I think that would be good, Bante.
then you can digest what I have mentioned.
Yes, it's so much. I digest little by little.
Okay, then we'll close our eyes and we can simply relax ourselves, and you can simplify your attention, and you can simplify it by drawing your attention to your body. You can take a deep breath, hold it for a while, and then slowly release. Now, there could be various distractions, maybe little sounds, maybe little pains. Simply acknowledge them. Don't hate them, don't suppress them, just let them be. Now you can hear various sounds. Actually, at Kalalgoda, we can hear birds chirping. Probably you can hear maybe sounds of vehicles, maybe sounds of the wind. So all these things are happening right now. You are not living in a dream. You are in the present world, present moment. And slowly you can allow these sounds to come and go. You are not bothered, you are not disturbed. They are not coming to disturb you. Close your eyes, relax, and you can listen various sounds. They come and go. Again, you can take a deep breath, hold it for a while, and then release. Now you can check what I am going to mention. Your eyes are gently closed. There's a slight sensation there, and your lips are gently touching. There's a very smooth, gentle sensation there. Jaws are not tightly coupled. Keep them little relaxed, and don't thrust upon the teeth. Just keep your tongue at the bottom, at the root. Have a slight smile. So we are trying to enjoy the present moment. Don't think about the past. Don't encourage uncertainties about the future. Just come to the present moment. Just try to enjoy. Just be with yourself. Again, take a deep breath. Hold it for a while and then slowly release. Keep your head straight, and there is no tension in the facial muscles. You are in a very relaxed, happy mood. Neck straight, shoulders in a relaxed position, Arms may be resting on your lap. There is no any tightness in your arms. Back straight. And probably you can feel different clothes touching your body. Certain areas you can feel some touching sensation, little bit of uncomfort, maybe little bit of heaviness, little tightness. How different clothes are touching your body. And probably you can feel how buttocks are touching the cushion or maybe the chair. Little bit of pressure is there, some heaviness is there. And your legs muscles are relaxed, legs are bent, and certain parts of the foot touching the ground. We are comfortably sitting. Try to appreciate this ordinary experience of sitting. We are quite comfortable. We feel at home, relaxed. But don't sleep. Again, you can take a deep breath, hold it for a while, and then release. Your foot is touching the ground, legs are bent, legs muscles are relaxed, and your buttocks are touching the cushion. Some pressure is felt there. Arms are resting. And probably you can feel how the abdomen moves. As we breathing in, abdomen comes forward, rising. As we breathe out, abdomen comes back, falling. You can spend some time observing this rising and falling. Let it happen naturally. Relax observation. If there are any thoughts related to the future, don't worry about them. They are merely thoughts. Simply discard them. Come back to the present moment, to ordinary experiences of the body. There are various thoughts related to the past. Don't continue thinking about them. So they are merely memories. Just let them go and come back to the present moment. Now keep your attention at the nostril. Try to recognize in breath and out breath. Keep it very simple, not a burden. Each in breath energizes you. Each out breath is relaxing. Each in breath energizing yourself. Each out breath relaxing yourself. Enjoy breathing. If you have very good mindfulness, you can closely examine each in breath, each out breath. Allow breathing to calm down, and you are doing very close examination. How in breath begins, how it evolves, coming to the middle, and then fades away. After a little gap, out breath begins. Then it reaches its middle. Then it too fades away. After a little gap, next in breath begins. Careful investigation of the whole breathing cycle. Do it happily. Okay, I have received one question. So the question is actually not related to the today's presentation or Dhamma sermon, but to something else. But it is also interesting. So the question is related to the memory. So how memory is working and how remembering happens. So how it is explained in Dhamma. Actually, this topic we discussed little bit in detail in the Kajjaniya Sutta when I am conducting what you call Sutta teaching session on Wednesday mornings, Sri Lanka time, and again on Sunday sermon on Sunday morning, Sri Lanka time. So there are, when we were discussing sanya, the perception aggregate, we little bit touch upon this topic, how sanya and perception, sanya and memory are somewhat related. Say, for example, when we see something, we are trying to get various marks, various signs of what we have seen. Say you are looking at a person, probably whether he has long hair, short hair, whether the skin color, maybe how his eyes looks like, what is the clothing like. So likewise, various signs we are looking at. But interestingly, now you are adding your own stuff also. Suppose you are a young person and you are looking at a young girl and you are a boy, then you have certain likes, certain desires, adding onto the situation, adding onto the picture. Say you are a very old person and you have completely passed your youthhood. Now you are looking at the same girl, now you feel like your daughter or your granddaughter. So now you are adding your own stuff to the picture. Now that means during the recognition process, when you are recognizing someone or something, so other than the typical recognition, so you are adding so much of other your own stuff to the picture. As a result of that, now you have your own picture, kind of constructed picture. So this is what ultimately we reminded or remembered in the future. So probably if that particular person is quite pleasant, or because of this sight you come up with a lot of happiness, probably it may record in your mind, and later you can even recall that, remember that. But when you are adding mindfulness into the picture, so you can recognize what you are additionally incorporating to the experience. You can distinctly know, okay, what is the real recognition happens, the mere recognition happen, and then your own constructions onto it, your own projections added onto it. And properly then you can let go of, if possible, I mean it is not easy, but if you can let go of all these constructions, additions, then you can purely experience what your sense faculties are providing you. And you can even maintain a very clear mind. As a result of that, your memory is improving. And maybe at a later time, you can quickly take it out. You can retrieve that information without any distortion. So typically, when we are ignorantly going through some sense experience, so we have so much of distortions into the picture. So distorted information is now we are recording. And ultimately some distorted information we are retrieving, remembering. But when mindfulness and so much of other spiritual qualities are operating, so you are able to minimize these distortions, perversions. As a result of that, you get some clear picture, proper recognition, undistorted recognition, unbiased recognition. And now further, maybe later time, you can recall it. So therefore, memory in Buddhism is actually is not just a one thing, rather it's a combination of so many other things, many things. So it has a one contribution coming from the sanya aggregate, the perceptions aggregate, and another contribution coming from the mindfulness, if you are developing mindfulness, and then further contribution is coming from the clarity of the mind, when your mind is fairly clear, you have no clouds in the mind is not cluttered, you have some clarity of mind, and that also contributes to the memory. And maybe at a later time when you are retrieving that information, remembering that information, there are also, if you are able to maintain quite mindful, say clear mind, undistorted mind, then that retrieved information is also very correct. So it's a kind of a combination of different factors which are operating as the memory. Okay, if you have any other question, it's welcome. Okay, that's okay. Shalika, if you can.
Yeah, I unmuted.
There's another question I have received. Chalika, can you read that or shall I read it?
Hold on. I think Dhananjay can ask your question. Do you
Okay.
want? I think something is going wrong. Um, yeah, but you can read the question. I
Okay,
didn't
there's
see
yeah.
that.
I received a question from Illika. So she is asking a question like this. If someone who has reached the insight of non-self, one who can clearly comprehend that it's only name and form, in the conventional world still have to live with the I. Yes. Example, one cannot say a cake is being made. Then there will be the question who made the cake. Then comes the I made the cake. So as long as we live in this conventional world, we have to go along with the word I. Even Buddha has quoted I in suttas, just expressing how I think, much merit. Very true. So that is why Buddha mentioned very clearly. So when you are living the typical mundane life, so you have to use all these different conventions, different words, different terminologies, different languages, no harm. But interestingly, if you have more understanding, then you are not caught up with them. Even though you refer as I made the cake, but you don't have much kind of a say conceit arising because of that. You are not thoroughly identifying with that statement. Rather, you are simply communicating that you have made it. That's it. Others may understand, okay, she is the one made it. But you are not preparing yourself, you are not thinking too much about it, you are not being proud about doing it. You're simply sharing what you have prepared with someone else. That's all. So this question is actually broadly discussed in the Arahanta Sutta. There Buddha mentioned uh, Kīnāsavo antima dehadāri ahang vadanti tipiso vadeya mamang vadanti tipiso so vadeya loke samanyang kusalo viditva vohara mattena so voharaya. So Buddha mentioned how arahants are using these different terminologies. Say for example, arahants are also mentioning, the fully enlightened beings are also mentioning, Buddha also mentioning, okay, I talked it, I preached it. And maybe sometimes they refer, okay, he told it to me, she mentioned that to me. So the terminology I, me, myself, those things are used, but not adhering to them, but not taking them too strongly, knowing that these are merely conventions, nothing else. They are merely terms, they are merely languages. These are, very limited scope they have. They are not something substantial. They are something that we are using as a kind of a component, as a kind of a tool to communicate. Knowing this fact properly, so they are using these terminologies, these words, statements without any attachment. Okay, samanyang kusalo viditva vohara mattena so vohariya. So they are using it quite skillfully without having wrong understanding about them. Therefore, we also, when we are going through the insight practice, if you feel that, not necessary to have any kind of conceit because of any kind of an activity, by the way, you have to refer the normal language to communicate with the others, so we are free to do it. But we are not taking it too seriously. We are not taking it as something quite substantial. Rather, it is merely a tool. Okay, I think Dhananjay can raise his question.
Yes, Bante, Thero Sarnai. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. As correctly said, Bante, it's, knowledge is not merely what we need the wisdom as well. And you mentioned about Vimansa. Is it similar to Vipassana, Bante, differentiating things?
Yeah, actually, Vimansa Iddipada. Spiritual powers are mentioned as four types: Chanda, Chitta, Virya, Vimansa. Chanda Iddipada, Chitta Iddipada, Virya Iddipada, Vimansa Iddipada. And today, actually, we slightly touch upon the Vimansa Iddipada, where your mind is so geared or so driven by Vimansa. That you want to know, you are curious about something. Say you are curious about spiritual achievements. Say you are curious about insights. So this curiosity, this inquiring mind, inquiring attitude is now driving you in the spiritual path. So that is kind of a quality that one can have. So certain people have that kind of an inquiring mind. They are quite curious about what's really going on. So they want to experience it and see because of that curiosity. But certain others, they have kind of a desire. I want to become a Sotapanna. I want to become enlightened. I want to have kind of faith. I want to have samadhi. I want to have jhana. So they are desire driven, but that desire can be directed in a wholesome side. So that is called Chanda Iddipad. Some are quite effortful characters. So they have some relentless effort. Even though they come across various difficulties, obstacles, they can overcome all the difficulties, and they are so empowered. So they are effortful characters. So that is Virya Iddipad. And certain others are quite determined. I should do it. I am going to do it. Even though many issues are there, I am going to do it. So likewise, you are so determined. So that is called Chitta Ittipad. So internally, through your mind, you are quite determined. You are decided to do it. Without doing it, I am not stopping. So that kind of a determination is there in certain people. So that is the power that leading them. So therefore, these are different powers that one can incorporate in oneself. So they are driving us towards the accomplishment of whatever, say, aspirations, spiritual aspirations that we are trying to achieve. Okay, if there are no any question, probably we can wind up the session. Thank you very much. Everyone Sarnai.
Thero Sadai Bante.
Everyone Sarnai.